It's January, so that means December is officially over, and we're gonna do my December reading wrap up. I read a total of 11 books in December, and 11 books a month seemed to be my average for 2024. I know months where I read a lot of short young adult, I was hitting like 20, but as I was reading more fantasy, that obviously shoots up. So, we'll start off with the books I read on my phone through Kindle Unlimited first. Let's see. Okay. So the first book I finished in December was Devi's Distraction by Ruby Dixon. I like that they built him a false leg because he was an amputee, and that was really cool for them to kind of do that. And you know, they're barbarians; they don't have modern technology. They do they're aware of modern technology because the one of the aliens was from modern times, and then the girls are from modern times, so like they're kind of aware. And then it's cool to see how interested in the organisms Devi was, because Devi used to be a scientist back on Earth, and so she is kind of like looking at their stuff and like kind of comparing it and explains it all. It's really cool. And then I didn't care for the Bridget plotline, and the Bridget plotline is that Bridget and Adam, two other characters, sleep together, and these guys, the minute you're sleeping together, they like automatically think like you're mates, like you're together, and the girls are like, that's not really a thing on Earth, that's not always the case. And so they're like always fighting and bickering, and it's run its course throughout the books. And then the next book I finished in December on my phone was Nadine's Champion, again by Ruby Dixon. Thran is very funny with his like I bet statements. So he's like, I bet I can win the race or whatever. Like he's very he likes to challenge people all the time. Not athletic, competitive. He's very competitive. And Resonating After Old Grandfather, which was like a pterodactyl-like bird, huge bird like size of a plane, is so funny, and the scene was hot. So this thing, the pterodactyl bird, captures Thran after he's riding a Devisti, which is like a horse-like thing, and he was betted to go ride this Devisti. He goes, I bet I can ride it or something, and so he gets on it being dumb. And old grandfather takes them, and so Nadine goes and rescues him, and as she finds the nest that he's in, they start resonating, which is very loud. And then they like escape, and they start doing it right on the side of the mountain. I like that. Was some good spicy reads. And then I read Callie's Catastrophe. Oh, Nadine's Champion, I rated 3.5 stars. Devi's Distraction, I rated 3.5 stars. And then I read Callie's Catastrophe, also by Ruby Dixon. I rated this one 3 stars. My doc is one sly mother. He was so sneaky, and I don't know how I feel about it. So this one, he drugs her because they've resonated a while ago. It's been like a month, and she doesn't want anything to do with him. And it's all a miscommunication. So it is the miscommunication trope to a point. But so he takes her in the middle of the night drugged. And like this drug was making her like really turned on. He didn't know it was going to have that effect. So like he feels really bad. And she's like, you can't do that. That's so wrong. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he like lies about getting lost. And eventually it all works out. They're fine. But he lies to her about more stuff. About the fact that they didn't actually get lost. He knew exactly where they were at. He was just leading her farther away. But yeah, he was really sneaky. I didn't like this at all. And then I read Cultish. I rated this one 5 stars by Amanda Montell. I've seen this one a lot on Book Talk and BookTube, so I had to check it out. And this book was so fascinating as it focused on the language aspect of cults. I loved that it went in detail with multi-level marketing schemes as well. I'm an MLM hater, so I love that this went in detail about MLMs. But yeah, I love a good nonfiction book that keeps me hooked like that, and that book definitely did. And then my last book I read on my phone was Penny's Protector, which I rated 4 stars. And he also drugged her, but he was not the one that came up with the idea. Madoc and Sabin, the character in this, are brothers. And Sabin's like stupid, kinda. That's how he's like dumb, aloof, that type. That's how they describe him. And so he didn't really know what to do. So obviously he didn't like the drugging bit, but the relationship was cute. His misinterpretation of a wedding is funny. So glad the package left wasn't more people. So he's like kind of told what a wedding is, and so he goes to Penny, and he's like, I will gladly cover your face and mate you in front of everyone if that's what you want, not understanding the like concept of, because they don't know what kissing is. The barbarians don't know what kissing is. They don't do that, and so the humans show them that. And then the bag over their head is the veil, so it was funny. And then, so while he has her out, the minute she wakes up from being drugged, he's like, oh my god, what did I do? What the fuck? He's like, I can take you back. And she's like, no, don't actually. Take me to go see the Fruit Cave and the Elder's Cave, and let's like all go discover this stuff. And while they're discovering all this stuff, they see like something crash land. And so it's like a coffin-like box. I'm like, if it's another pod full of people, I'm actually going to get sick of it. But it wasn't. It was like cool supplies. So they have a wedding when they get back. And that was cool. And then on to my physical books. I read 5 physical books. This is an ARC I got from my bookstore, because when you spend whatever amount of money, or I got this ARC in like a book surprise box thing I did, they'll give them to you. And so I actually really like this one. If I wasn't on a book buying ban, I'd go buy when it releases January 7th. But so this is The 3 Lives of Kate Kay by Kate Fagan. I rated this one 4.5 stars. It switches between people's perspectives, and I like that. It was even doing these small little side characters and like how meaningful their presence was. And so I'll read the back of the book. Kate Kay knows how to craft a story. As the writer of a best-selling book trilogy that stuck box office gold, she's one of the most successful authors of her generation. The thing is, Kate Kay doesn't really exist. She's never attended author events or granted any interviews. Her real identity has been closely guarded secret until now. As young adults, she and her best friend Amanda dreamed of escaping their difficult homes and moving to California to become movie stars. Before their grand adventure could begin, tragedy struck, and Kate has been on the run ever since, taking on different names and charting a new future. But after a shocking revelation, Kate understands that returning home is the only way she'll be a whole person again. The 3 Lives of Kate Kay is a vibrant, unforgettable debut novel that welcomes an exciting new voice in fiction. So, yeah, I was shocked, though, by Sydney's actions in this. Sydney actually drives me up the wall. I was just, like, shocked that she would even do that. So, definitely recommend when it comes out January 7th. And then, and it is sapphic. A little bit. Like, there's several female relationships, but it's not, like, they're not going full-fledged into what they're doing. That makes sense. So, and then I read King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard in the Red Queen series. This I rated 3 stars, and I think, like, I love the Red Queen, and this one was way more interesting than the second one. I did not like the second one at all. This one kept me hooked. I liked how long she was under Megan's control. I think that was realistic, that she wasn't saved right away. I actually should have bumped my rating to 3.5 because I did enjoy it way more than the second one. But I liked that it switched perspectives between Mare and Cameron and like that. I like that Farley has her daughter and it doesn't change who Farley is. But yeah, I really liked this one. It's just, these are hard to get through for me, and I don't know why. I think, actually, in December, I think I seen my TBR, and I was like, that's pretty fantasy heavy. Fantasy heavy of books that I don't really want to read right now. Because I just choose my TBR. I don't necessarily, like, pick what I want to read. I do, like, a pull it from the jar thing. So, yeah, 3.5 stars on the King's Cage. Moving it up. And then I read As Good as Dead. I rated this 5 stars by Holly Jackson. It's the third in a Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. I liked it. I was surprised who the actual murderer was. The only gripe, I guess, I had about this book was the fact that, spoiler, she frames Max Hastings for the murder she does of Jason Bell. But it comes out that Jason Bell's the BT killer, and Jason Bell raped all these girls, and Jason Bell's a stalker. And so now that she framed Max as killing him, wouldn't Max seem like bepraised? That's my gripe with this. And then I read Daydream by Hannah Grace in the Maple Hills series, which is like the Icebreaker series. I love this. Great oldest daughter representation. I liked Henry. He's so sweet. I've loved him from Icebreaker, so I was really excited for his book. I like that they were like both conscious of their like contributions to the relationship or whatever, and I liked how slow it was. Icebreaker was so fast. Wildfire slowed down, but this was like a real slow burn. I really liked it, and it was cute. And then the last book I read, well, not the last book I read, but the last book that I read was Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. And I got this from Illumicrate, because I do subscribe to Illumicrate. And I rated it 2 stars. I was mildly enjoying what was going on, but it was like there's so much going on, but like nothing going on at the same time. And then there's like hints of a polyamorous relationship, and then nothing comes of it. So I'm sure it will be in the second book, but I don't know if I want to read the second book, because the first one just felt so all over the place. And then I think it's a cool take on vampires, because they're called blood workers or whatever. And so I like that it kind of explains their magic system pretty well. That's really cool. They do have a trans character. At first I was like, okay, how is this gonna work? This is like medieval times here. But he's a blood worker, which says kind of like their vampire type things. And so it kind of does do a good job explaining about how he goes about that, because he's a trans man. So, yeah. 2 stars. And that was all the books I read in December. So, thank you for watching.